asking all of you, who supports birth control in this room? Is there anyone? Okay. That's good to know. And who thinks that abstinence should be the only choice for... Okay, that's good. Is there any people that believe that both are acceptable? Okay. Well, I'm here to talk to you about the differences between birth control and self-control. Let's start with the pill, or commonly known as the pill. It's hormones women take with its birth control. So what exactly is the pill? According to kidshealth.org, there's two types of pills that women can take. The first is called the combination pill, which has hormones that prevent the release of an egg, so it kind of just like stays in its corner so it can't make contact with anything. Second one is proestrogen pills, which is slightly different. It makes a sort of barrier that surrounds the egg so nothing can get to it. The effectiveness of the pill, according to nhs.uk, I'm going to discuss the effectiveness of the combination pill versus the proestrogen pill. So, combination pill, if taken correctly, is more than 99% effective. If taken incorrectly, that can drop to 92%. And the proestrogen pill is, instead of more than 99%, it's about 99% effective. But it has the same effectiveness if you take it incorrectly, it drops to 92%. There is a very common myth about birth control that says if a woman is on birth control for a long time and she gets off, she risks being infertile. And I'm here to tell you that that's not true. Some women experience changes in their cycles after they get off of birth control, but this is usually due to being underweight or being under extreme amounts of stress. Some side effects to the pill are nausea, headaches, and weight gain. Not very pleasant sometimes. I'm sure most of you probably know this, but I'm just going to mention it. The pill does not prevent STDs, so you would have to consider using condoms or abstain. And that leads me to the second part. Abstinence. Yes. According to healthcenter.ucsc, that's hard to say, .edu, there's three types of abstinence. First one is outer course, which means you only abstain from vaginal sex. Second type is period abstinence, which is being aware of when you're most fertile and when you are least likely to get pregnant, and just working around that. And the last one, of course, is absolute abstinence, which is not participating in any sex play. Abstinence is absolute abstinence, I should say. Throughout the rest of this speech, I'm going to be strictly talking about absolute abstinence. So abstinence is 100% effective. There's no side effects. It's free because with birth control you have to go to a doctor and possibly pay money. It's the best prevention method for not only pregnancy but also STDs. It fits some people's morals and religion. But there are disadvantages to abstinence. The first one that I want to talk about is determination. Some people really just, they like to have sex. So being abstinent would be a really difficult thing for them. Stemming from that, if or when abstinence is broken, usually the person that was abstinent, is not prepared for the situation that they're going to get themselves in. They don't have a condom in their pocket. They're not on birth control. So when they do end up having sex, it leads to unwanted pregnancy or STDs. Lastly, for the disadvantages, I want to talk about alcohol and drugs. If you enjoy alcohol and drugs, then I would not recommend abstinence, because those sort of things, they impair your judgment. And abstinence is something that requires you to be aware of what you're doing. So the choice. Ask yourself 3 questions. Does your religion or morals compel you to be abstinent? If so, then you might want to be abstinent. If not, then you can still talk about other choices. Do you currently have a habit of having frequent intercourse? Then you may want to be on birth control. That's all. You have like so many questions. Alcohol. Do you enjoy drugs or alcohol?
I believe Chris has a question.
Okay, Chris.
I was actually going to do this topic of whether they should teach proper condom use and abstinence in schools. What would you feel would be the best way for them to actually talk about the subjects to teens? Because it seems like there are more and more younger teenagers getting pregnant and they are so not prepared. Do you think that it's because there is a lack of talking about it and teaching proper condom use or teaching abstinence, or?
Yeah, I mean, has a teacher ever, or teacher or parents, how many of them would explain to you, oh, you put a condom on like that, and it has to go this far down, and make sure it's like sticking up this far.
Okay.
No one wants to talk about that. Because
I agree.
So you think that in schools they should just talk about abstinence and not condom use?
No, I think they should talk about it. They should get through that uncomfortableness.
Okay.
Yeah, you gotta get uncomfortable.
Yeah. Okay.
My question is very great. Great job.
Yes.
Thank you, because I didn't know there were more than one ways to be abstinent. I thought you just didn't do nothing. So you taught me some stuff. I appreciate that. But my question to you is, what is your stance? Do you believe in abstinence, or do you believe in sexual awareness?
Yeah, that was my last sort of conclusion that got left out, but it was sort of like I had a what do you recommend sort of section. What do I recommend, sorry. And I put that all women should try to be on birth control, because you can still be abstinent if you're on birth control. Being on birth control doesn't mean you have to be sexually active. But it's safer in the event of, going to a party and, having uncontrolled situations, or maybe even being a victim. I just don't think that, some people are ashamed to be on birth control, and I don't think that should be an issue, because you can still be abstinent. It doesn't mean that you're going to be having a ton of sex all the time. Okay.
You were so funny.
I
whenever you were doing this topic, I was like, oh my gosh, it's so awkward. You brighten my day with birth control. So,
You are so brave.
yeah.
Thank you.
I was going to comment, kudos to you for taking a sensitive subject and being able to be informative and entertaining at the same time. And I am pro keeping your pants on, I'm pro abstinence. And so I was wondering, do you feel that because there's different forms of being abstinent, do you think you have to be absolutely abstinent to be truly abstinent, or do you think, well, I mean, I only go down on people every once in a while, but I haven't had sex.
You are just not liking this topic, aren't you?
Professor, can you leave the room for a while?
We need to have the birth and abuse conversations.
Except for that point, just kind of excessively there with this. We don't
So do you think there's truly variations, or do you think it's either you do or you don't?
I think there's variations, but I also think that if you're talking about it seriously with someone, to just be specific about what kind of abstinence you're having, like maybe the doctor or something. Just but I think all those work, but I would say the other ones are not as effective as absolute abstinence. Okay.
You said that whenever women get off of birth control after having been on it for a long time, they actually don't have difficulty having babies after that.
Yeah.
But actually my mom's friends are having that problem right now. They were on birth control for a long time, so their body adapted to not being able to do that.
Okay.
And now they can't have children because their body just won't let them. So where did you get that statistic?
I put the website right here.
Those are most cases that we go both ways. Because I've seen it's both ways.
Baby Center. I don't know. I looked at several different websites, and a lot of them, well, all the ones that I saw all said that was not true. It might be like in rare cases or something, but I've never met anyone or heard of anyone having that problem.
Zarah, similar to Sean, I have had friends who were using birth control. One of my friends, her mother started her on it at 12. And when she got off of birth control, she could not have children at all. So it can, for some individuals, cause problems.
Is there birth control for men?
Yes.
Why do women have to?
There's birth control.
Actually, there is birth control for men.
Yeah, it's a pill.
You all think that cause some type of sterilization or?
It does for
sterile?
women.
I mean sterile in a way,
I
because
would think so.
the women took it so long that now they can't release eggs and stuff like.
Yeah.
Well, it's like their body it's like drug addicts. Their body gets used to having this in them.
It's the
and so
same
their
way
body
steroid
doesn't
works,
produce it anymore.
where your body is so used to having that constant steroid in you
That it doesn't need
that
to
it
produce
continue, that it just shuts down everything. It keeps on thinking that it's going to be constantly supplied with this, and when you go off, your body just kind of goes, I can't remember how to
But
produce that.
I have a couple of friends who were on birth control and they planned their babies to the T. Like, okay, I'm getting off birth control this month, and the next ovulation they were pregnant.
Well,
So
they're lucky.
I've seen several times. I've seen the difficulties and I've seen I'm like, dang, how did you do that? But I've seen both ways, and they both were on birth control for long periods of time. So it may be the type of birth control that they're using as well.
There's just, it's, I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, I agree with the types of birth control. There's a lot of different ones that
There
have
are
different
plenty,
effects and are different powers as
I
well.
think that unless it's your doctor telling you that it was the birth control that affected you, that I think it's just people going around saying that just because they're on birth control and then when they got off it, they couldn't have babies anymore. But there's a lot of people who don't even have birth control, who can't have children, or who have struggle having children, so that could just be the case. So I think that people who get off birth control and then say that they can't get pregnant, they just accuse the birth control. So I think unless you know for sure from your doctor that it was the birth control, that you really shouldn't say either or.
I've also heard from other friends who have taken birth control that in some cases, it will severely mess up their periods, and sometimes they'll
Yes,
have
the-
2 in a row.
Oh, yeah.
that happened to my
That's
friend.
what I was talking
And
about. A month?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. One of my friends, she actually had to go to the doctor because she had 3, and it was because of birth control.
Wow.
Usually due to like,
Well, I'm wondering why that actually happens. Because I thought that birth control was supposed to stop that.
It doesn't stop it, it's supposed to regulate it.
Oh, okay, so it just, right, okay.
Yeah.
It regulates.
And we'll take Delisa and then we'll end
more
up.
hormones into your body.
I know you said you want abstinence but also take the pill for abstinence. Do you feel that if you are taking the pill and also being abstinent, that may give you an excuse also to just maybe
Just go for it.
Yeah.
Well,
They gotta
it depends
take it
on
forward.
each individual and what determination they have, what like morals and point of views that they have. So it really depends per person. Some people would be tempted, yes, and other people not so much.
Okay, thank you so much. Can someone do me a favor and pick up the evaluation forms for Zara?
Already done?
Already done.